Good morning, Rabbi Isai. It's much better when you're around, Mavi.
I know.
I heard that the Olam woke up at 3:30 today. I just heard about it. My wife wasn't here, and I just slept right through it. There was another alarm. A lot of people are up since 3:30. I understand. It's perfect for these kind of sugyas to be tired right over your head. Yitzi Niyasov. I learn every day, usually before and after Ma'ariv. I was also considering doing Sanhedrin with MDY and watch the first daf with you. My FOMO was through the roof when I saw the energy from you in the crowd. So far, I haven't missed a day. In fact, when I wake up later, Bekitz, what he's saying is I messed up his schedule. In fact, when I wake up later than planned and I'm late to work, I try to push Daf Yomi off until after work. However, I'm apparently addicted. It bogs me down, so I stop working and do the daf at my desk. When I don't do the daf, without exaggeration, it's equivalent to or worse than missing my coffee. Thanks for all you do. Hope to join in person one day. Send my cousin, Avremi Cohn, my bestie, is the one who kept pushing me to join. Rabbi Saeed, this is Kobe Goldschmidt, our Hebrew editor's father in the Swiss Alps. You can see the Swiss Alps from the window. And he got another guy to join, supposedly, because this guy sent me a picture of him doing it in the Arosa Hotel lobby. And then Kobe said that his father told him he got this guy to join. I spoke about Shlomo Zayins. He's Bezer Hashem. You should do a good job over there in the White House. So somebody pointed out you could actually see him in the reflection of the screen, but he's on the wrong daf. So I need to address Shleimi. Shleimi on Daf Beis. We're on Daf Chof Ches today. I know you want to do the whole entire Masechta, but that's not how it works. Jump forward, get on the bandwagon, be part of this. It will change your life. Rabbi Isai, the famous Simcha Firestone, he came and he celebrated, Shalom Aleichem Loret. He celebrated 3 years doing the daf. And he had such a simcha atzuma that he just burst out of his. I'm not going to show the whole thing, it's a little sugar. I think it's Givaldi. A burst of simcha. The Masechta, we have 5 sponsors for the Masechta. Yesterday we had 6, I thought. A short Masechta. Refuah Shlema for Yosef Chaim Shmuel Ben Alte Nechama from his grateful family. The Masechta for Hatzlacha, Beruknis, Begashmius. Masechta Larry Cohn in memory of Yechiel Moshe Ben Chaim Vieta, who started learning the daf at age 70, continued for 32 years until he's nifter. The Masechta is sponsored for the unity of the Jewish people. Masechta Glenn Esterson with love and gratitude from Wilmington, North Carolina. Thank you for enriching my life with Torah. Parnassa 6. Leilui Zechraya ben Moshe, Leilui Chaya bas Yosef. Yosef ben Chaya Sara for parnassa berevach. As a zechus for our children, tremendous parnassa. Leilui Nishmat Yaffa bat Simcha Refuah Shlema Yisrael Yaakov and Malka. Zechut parnassa berevach for bracha for Baruch Tzvi Nisim ben Shoshana Leah. And by innovations, I'll see in honor of Uncle Chanan Fischel, a zechus for Akiva Simcha ben Fega, shidduch for Refuah bas Yaffa Chaya, and thank you to Rebbe Stefansky. Parnassa Shavuot, the last day, Yisher Elliot Hagler, in honor of completing my 5th cycle of the daf. And Mike Katz, who just started the daf. 5 Parnassa Hayoim, in honor of Eliezer Weinstein's wedding tonight in Lakewood, a long-time Talmud, Mazel Tov. Mordechai ben Yocheved Tamar, Refuah Shlema, Bekorov Mamish. Shimon Fried, in loving memory of Chanalea Bas Shol Aryeh Eliezer. Parnassa Hayoim, David and Esther Sauer, something like that. S-A-U-E-R, from Sour. From RS. What's RS? Ramat Shemesh? Ramat Shilo, Ramat Shlomo. I guess it didn't fit into the whole line. From RS, for Shimon Ben Esther. In honor of my dear cousin Penny Klein, who got me to start listening to her belly. Yesher Koyach, Penny Klein, and whoever you are, cousin. For zechus, the art of the month. For zechus, for Rebelli and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable for so many. And the art of the month in honor of Yossi Klan and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work that they do, and they do a tremendous amount. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? Tzvi Sher from?
Baltimore.
Shalom Aleichem. You met before? Sounds very familiar.
Official.
Really? Official's right-hand man. Send regards to Official. Oh, I saw that he called yesterday in the middle of Shir, in the middle of the Hebrew Shir. Tell him that's a big no-no. And I usually don't see I just remember feeling it like during it, and then I looked, okay, whatever. What? Hi, Official, Ishkoyach. I give Shir between 9 and 10, and then it's Ma'ariv. And then Rav Nachman Seltzer called me right after that, also during Ma'ariv, but that's a different story. Rabbi Yosef, I have an amazing daf today. I have a shayla for the olam. In today's day and age, when a guy gets engaged, can he testify about his kala in Bezdin?
No.
Why not?
When he's just a chassan?
He's just a chassan.
Why not? If he didn't do it tonight, why not? He's not connected right now.
There's no connection, but there's emotional connection. Maybe emotional connection is enough. So the Gemara discusses a little bit about it, but not mamish our case. The Gemara talks about emotional connection, kira vadas, shalom aleichem. So that's question number one. Question number two, what's the best way to say my wife's cousin? What is the most complicated way to say my wife's cousin? The most complicated way to say my wife's cousin.
My wife's father.
First sit down, please. Sit down.
My wife's mother's husband.
My mother-in-law's sister's son. My mother-in-law's sister's son.
My cousin-in-law.
My Schwester's, no. And that's how the Gemara talks sometimes in these kind of sugyas. And therefore, we have a little bit of a complication. But it's moridik. So now we have a gadita. Again, how do you say my wife's cousin? Anybody?
Peggy.
My sister-in-law's. All right. Says the Gemara Menani Mili. You're going to have to get another cake very, very soon. And this time it's not going to go so easy. Menani Mili. The Torah Rabbanon. How do we know? So yesterday, after Shir, Ari came over to me and said, how do you know that all these Kravim are apostle? They're apostle because each and every one has a pasuk. They're already falling asleep here. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name?
Sion Gelbo.
Young Gel, you're the one that brought the wine?
I'll put you another one.
Pass it down. We're going to need it today.
Come on,
Mayor, I can say the story about you? What was the story? You tell me the story. Just 2 days ago. Yesterday, we were learning the sugi. He tells me right after davening, he says, you're not going to believe it. Last night, I was at a chasana, and they offered me to be an aide. And I told them that based on this Mishnah, I can't be an aide. Why? It was his wife's sister's son. You're the brother-in-law, basically.
Not sister-in-law's son, I'm uncle.
You're an uncle.
Not blood.
Not blood. Okay. Here, bring this. It's for me, Tzaddik. Give it up. Oh, wow. It's an MDY wine, literally. Check this out. You able to zoom? It's all MDY characters and stuff. Givaldi.
Where do you buy it?
America's Daf Yomi on top. So again,
it must be a little bit.
Cape Jewel, Cabernet Sauvignon, Bavmentia Art Collection. Have a wonderful day. 2024. Alcohol reduces sheer ability. No, it says driving ability. I just stuck that in. It actually enhances the sheer. Shkoyach. Thank you very much. What's your name again?
Sion Gelbo.
Sion
Gelgor.
Gelgor from
Cape Town.
Cape Town. Cape Jewel. Givaldic. Beautiful. Oh, we got to be careful with this. Yeah, let's lay it down. Shkoyach. Thank you. How do we know? See here what's going on? You need to know these things. You go to weddings. Literally 2 days ago, he was offered to be an aide, and he's puzzled today to be made. I heard a Maisa Shahaya, where there was a Rav, guys, a little, just, at a Shever Brachas, Shabbos Shever Brachas, the Rav was speaking to the Chassan, and the Chassan mentioned who the Edom were. And the Rav looks at him and says, wait a minute, they're both your uncles, right? And it turns out that the guy wasn't even married on the Shabbos Shever Brachas, and they had a whole the Pasaleidos, the two uncles. So, Maisa Shahaya now we're like in the last few years. And then they had a question on Shabbos, what to do? Does he have to be Mekadesh again on Shabbos? Are you allowed to not? Well, ask your local rabbi. But Menanimili, how do you know that all these people that we said in the Mishnah are Pasaleidos? The Torah Rabbanon Yimsu Avis Al Barim, it's literally I got it now. So take it in. It's Geshmak, enjoy. Lo Yimsu Avis Al Barim. The fathers won't die because of the sons. Matam Loimar. Im Lalamich Lo Yimsu Avis Ba'avoim Banim. If you thought that a father shall die because of a son, Ubanim Ba'avon Avis. Shouldn't die. Harik Farnema, we already said this. Ish becheta yumasu. Each person dies with his own sin. You don't die because of your father's sin, which we'll see in a second. It's not so pashat. Ella leyumsu avis al banim be'edus banim. So this is interesting. What does edus banim mean? So we stop right over here, and we can continue another line. Ubanim leyumsu al avais be'edus avais. Testimony of fathers. How many fathers does one have? A person has one father. So what does avos plural mean? So it must be that we're talking about two brothers that are fathers, and they have, each one has a son. So we're talking about banim, not the sons of one, and not the fathers of one, but rather two fathers and two sons. Now, for the rest of the sugya, Rabbi Yosef, for the rest of the sugya, to make it super, super easy, the first generation of fathers, we're going to call them a 1. Their sons are a 2. And their sons are a 3. And we're going to go, that's how we're going to discuss this, with pictures, of course, but 1s and 2s. The top generation, the grandfathers, the Av is a 1, the son is a 2. These will be first cousins, or a nephew to, each one is a nephew to the other father. So the Mishnah, the Torah is telling us that a nephew and a son cannot testify about a father, and a father or uncle cannot testify about his nephew. They're super related. Now, we still don't know, for instance, how do you know that the two of the sons, the two that are in line 2, two of them together cannot testify about a random guy? How do you know they can't testify about monetary things? How do you know that they can't, that if they're related through a mother, they can't testify? So it's all part of this agadata. So says the Gemara, ask the Gemara, and what? A son doesn't die because of his father? Because Baruch Hu does look into the sins of the father, and he takes it out on the sons. Says the Gemara, a big yisoid. When a son is born, his father's a big, I don't know what, let's say he's a killer, he's a ritzeach, just take the most extreme, he's a killer. And he continues, he's part of the mafia, and he knocks people out, he kills them, he continues the tradition of the family. The big chiddush here is that he will suffer the consequences of his father's sins because he continued doing his father's. You can't even use it as an excuse. Today it's a big excuse. I was born into that. I didn't have a choice. He's going to get punished for his own sins, but he's also going to take upon himself his father's sins. He's going to be punished for both. Without his father, he would have been punished for his own sins because he's a ritzeach, let's say. Now he gets punishment for his father's ritzicha also. Big chiddush. And that Rizal just sticks in there just a second. He says that this is only when a kid is born after his, before his father sinned. But if a kid was born into sin, then this doesn't apply. In other words, he gets punished for his father's sins anyways. He's born like a Balmum. He's born as a Ritzeach. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu this Gemara is talking about when the father was clean and the father did a sin after he was born, and he continues doing those Aveiros, then yeah. Okay. We'll go into a different time. Because of the father's sins, with them they will wither, says the article. Wither, yimaku. That's when, it says in the Brayso, when they continue doing their father's sins. That they continue doing the father's sins. Maybe they get punished for their father's sins. No. It says in the Pasuk. You die for your own sin, not for your father. So we have a contradiction. It says a person only dies for his sins, and then it says a person dies for his father's sins. It must be that we're talking about a situation where a kid continues doing his father's aveira, and that's why he gets punished. Oh, so this is famous. We don't have to go into it. But Klal Yisrael, we're all in this together. And when you see somebody doing a chet, it's your obligation to stop them. You can't say, oh, I'm American, I have good manners, it's none of my business. No, he's part of your company. When he's doing something wrong, the whole company suffers, the whole organization suffers. We're in one organization.
Only if he's going to listen to you.
100%, and I said that yesterday, it's only when if you're going to go to somebody that's completely not religious and start telling him, why are you eating chazer? It doesn't make sense. He's sitting in a McDonald's. You don't go over to him. He's not going to listen to you. He's going to be really upset at you. It's Alte. The famous marshal, you're on a ship. We're all in this together. And the guy goes and drills a hole in his own room. And then he brings down the ship. He says, no, it's my room. You mind your own business. Don't tell me what to do in my room. That's not how it works. We're all in this together. So Ravim Zilazah. So the Gemara says, it's only talking about a situation when you were able to make a macha, and that would work, and you didn't. You decided to be a nice guy, and not open your mouth, and that's why chas v'shalom you could suffer. Says the Gemara, so we see from this chart right over here. Oh, I forgot to push the button over here, but you get it. A 1 cannot testify on a 2. And a 2 cannot testify on a 1. We see fathers to sons and sons to fathers. V'kolshkin obviously hadodi, certainly a 1 to a 1 is a super relative, right? Even a generation down, which is a 2, cannot testify for a 1. They're pretty related. But a 1 to a 1 is super related, and certainly they can't testify to each other. Banim lebanim minalan. How do you know that first cousins, a 2 to a 2, cannot testify? It uses a plural language, not a singular. Even a 2 to a 2, a cousin to a cousin cannot testify. What about this? Let's say a 2 to a random guy. It says 2 because I couldn't knock out the 2 over there. But this guy on the left is not related at all. How do you know that these 2 guys can't get together and testify about him? So the Gemara says, an amazing svara. This is, you have to think about these things sometimes. Like, stop for a second and say, could I come up with this myself? This is genius, actually. What's the logic? The famous case of Edom Zayimim. 2 people, let's say, witness and say that they saw Reuven kill Shimon. They want to put Reuven to death because Reuven killed Shimon, and if they testify and their testimony comes out correct, Reuven will die. Now, we bring 2 Edom and say, you 2 guys that said you witnessed that, you're liars, you are on a cruise ship. What happened to those 2 guys? They die. They die. The guys in the Shramels must die because they wanted to cause somebody else to die. The halacha is that if they could only say one of them was on a cruise and the other one they don't talk about, then you don't kill one of them. You have to get both of them in order for this to work. Therefore, he says a svara comes out that if 2 brothers testify, two first cousins testify about somebody that he killed. The only way, and a testimony only works if you could do kasher zamam. You could do a hazama. Any testimony you can't do, zimuma, edim zayim, it doesn't work. Hazama, it doesn't work. You must do hazama on it. So there's a situation where these first cousins are going to die because of their testimony. They lied. They testified falsely that so-and-so killed. And we found out that both of them were on a cruise ship. They're both cousins. And we're going to kill them. But the only way you could kill them is if both of them testified and both of them are found Muslim. So it comes out that each one is causing the other one to die. You can't kill one without the other. You need to come on to the testimony of both. So they're actually testifying about each other, says the Gemara. In a way, we could look at it like that.
It's a lamdish svara. It's a lamdish svara.
Yeah, it's a big chap. The Gemara doesn't agree with it. But it comes out that they are, what they say and do has everything to do with their own brother, with their own cousin, and they're causing their cousin to die. They're basically testifying about their cousin, about their brother. MMA law, two related people cannot testify about somebody else. And if you're going to tell me that two brothers can go ahead and testify about somebody random, they're both getting killed because of the testimony of the other one. Because you need to kill both of them in order to do azama. And they're negea be'edus to one another. Rava, I'll prove you wrong. Says Rava, I love your chap here, but it's wrong. Why? Rabbi said this is the God at the part of today's sugya. So enjoy. It's all easy. We learned in Bava Basra that if you don't have a star, you could get away with proving that you were in the property for 3 years. Cheskes Gimel Shanim. What if you have, and you have to prove it with witnesses. What if you have 3 witnesses, each one testifies on 1 year? And each witness has a witness with him, or one witness with all 3, it works. What if all 3 witnesses, one witness is for year 1, another witness for year 2, another witness for year 3, they happen to be brothers. And with each brother, there's a witness, another witness, a guy that's not related. It works. It's good, because each one is testifying about 1 year. Now what happens if you find out that they're liars? They wanted to take away a property from somebody with their testimony, so they have to pay up the property, the same price. Says Rover, but they all testified about each other. You can't do the hazama without all 3 testifying. You need all 3 in all 3 years. So they all combine to testify about a 3-year chazaka. Let me just show it to you real quickly how it looks. Here's the karka. I don't see it on the screen. I don't know what's going on with that screen. It's not here it is. Here, the brother, one brother with the cap on. He's a brother. He's saying there's a cheskes 1 year. Another brother, cheskes 2 years, 3rd year, and another brother, there's a chazaka on the 3rd year. They're all, and there's one guy, the guy with his hand in his pocket. He's going to be for all 3 years, and each year there's another brother. The halacha is, it's a good chazaka. And if we found out that they're all liars, they say, you brothers want to cruise, they have to pay. But according to your svara, they shouldn't pay. Why? Because they're all testifying. You can't have one brother without another brother, so each brother is actually testifying about his brother. Each one is accusing or helping his brother have to pay a 1/3 of the property. You said it doesn't work. So what's the answer? Why does it work? Yes, there are 3 testimonies, but it's one single testimony for Azama. We can make them pay. So it comes out that each brother is basically helping ruin it for another brother. You're relying on his testimony in order to be mechayev a brother to pay a 1 year or a 1/3 of the karka. So what's the answer? The hazama comes from the two guys in the strimals, nothing to do with the brothers. They have nothing to do with it. We don't care about their testimony. We don't look at it. We view it as if the Edom, the outside Edom with the strimals that come and say, we saw you on a cruise ship, they're the ones that cause payment of the property. So when two brothers come and testify that they saw somebody kill or whatever it is, and we want to kill them, you don't say, oh, the two brothers, each brother is testifying about the other brother. No. The hazama comes from two random Edom, from the two guys in strimals that come and say, Imanu, you were on the cruise with us. That's what's mechayiv them. So, but at the end of the day, how do we know that two kroivim don't testify about each other? Two first cousins can't testify together about somebody else. Ella Mkain lichtov kra ubein al avois. To say a different lashon in the pasuk. Inami heim al avois. My ubanim afilu banim la'alma. It's a limud. It's exeris hakasa. We're not using svaras here. It's exeris hakasa. Extra word banim tells us that they cannot testify to other people. Ashkechon kroivei av. We find the relatives that are paternal relatives from the father's side. How do we know relatives from the mother's side? It says it twice, an extra word. So I have extra word. Then this extra word teaches us the mother's side as well. I know that if they can't testify to ruin it for somebody, what if they want to make somebody gain a little bit? Oh, makro, yumsu treizim. It says it yumsu twice. As I see, you can't kill somebody based on two relatives. Dinim maminas minalan. Oh, makro, mishpat echad yelachem. It's another pasuk. Mishpat hashav lachem. One judgment for everybody.
We darshan plural of banim, we don't darshan one plural of avos, but not the second one.
Why? We said avos twice, but not the plural of it.
Yeah. But the banim, we just do
Listen,
plural.
today there's no questions on any of the sugyas. All your questions hold. You're gonna have murdic questions today, I know. But today's shir, especially starting now.
There's no kashas on the gata.
So I think it's that's right. It's no kashas on a gata. What's beautiful about, first of all, we're doing a little sugi here. It's only basically lasts until the bottom of the Amud, a little bit on Amud Beis, but the variety is so beautiful in Gemara. Like there are people like Benny Rodnik who loves Yivamis kind of sugyas. Chavrusa, there's different people that like it. There's people that love Agadata. There's people that love Lamdas. There's people that love Psukim. Here, this sugya. There's people that love this stuff. No one in this room, but there's a lot of people that love it. This is another sugya. It never gets boring. It's always something new. Omer Rav says Rav. Here we go. So just very, very simple. It is simple. You have generation 1 on top. Generation 2, their sons, and then you have their sons' sons. We even have in generation 2, we have a son-in-law. He married a daughter. A daughter is for sure generation 2. Your daughter is the second generation. Her husband is considered a second generation, for the most part. Later on, we're going to say maybe he's a third generation. We treat him as a third. But a son-in-law is in the same generation as, at the Shabbos table, they sit up front, they're closer to the father. It's generation 2. Then you have generation 3. Generation 3 is a grandson, is a granddaughter's husband, grandson-in-law. Now, question: can a 3 testify in Bezdin about a 1? Can a granddaughter testify about her grandfather's brother? A granddaughter testify about her great uncle.
Could the girl testify the Quran?
Okay, so could the grand uncle testify about the girl? I'm saying it goes backwards. Or could her husband, the granddaughter's husband, could he testify about the grandfather's brother? That's a 3-1. A 3 to a 1. Worse than this, can a 3 testify about a 2 on the other side? Go all the way. The guy all the way in the left corner, the son-in-law, the grandson-in-law, can he testify about the great uncle's son? A 3 to a 2. That's very, very far away. So that's what Rav is going to discuss here. It's not brought down in the Mishnah. All we saw in the Mishnah are 2s. 1s and 2s cannot testify about each other. Omar Rav, Achi Abba lo yoid li, my father's brother, the guy on the top right, all the way in the top right, my father's brother. You see where Rav is? Rav is a 2, and he's called a who? Here. This guy, this one right over here, that's Rav. I'll just grab this for a second. This is Rav right over here, okay? I don't know if you can see my laser. I don't know if I could, let me see what I could do here. Like this. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, he's still highlighted. I don't know how to get it off. Oh, eraser, here we go. Okay, good. No, I don't have any buttons here. So, Omar Rav, Achi Abba lo yoid li, hu ubenoi v'chasanoi. Not him, not my father's brother, not his son, and not his son-in-law, or which in this case would mean this guy right over here. Highlighter, this guy. Yeah, you'll see in a second. Yeah. It's chasanoi. Look. Afani loy oid loy. Yeah. Afani loy oid. I also, and we can't do it in reverse either. Afani loy oid loy ani ubni v'chasani. My son-in-law, this guy over here, which is also a 3, cannot testify that way. That's a 3 to a 1. It's a it's a grandfather's great uncle. It's a grandfather's. I'm talking about this guy here, right over here. Okay. Oh, we go like this here. Poof, like that. And also a 3 to 1 could be this way. A grandson, or the grandson to his grandfather's brother. Or the worst is, the furthest away is the son-in-law. The son-in-law, that the guy all the way on the left. Okay. I just want to say, all you guys that are listening right now while you're walking on the phone, I feel bad for you. Good luck. Huh? Rav is this one right over here. This is him. That's Rav. Who? Rav is saying that my son-in-law, who's a 3, all the way in the left corner, cannot testify for my father's brother. Okay? In other words, I'm telling you, Rabbi Isai, this is, you could throw in crazy language, you could call them whatever you want. My father's brother cannot testify for my son's sister's husband, which is my son-in-law. You can say whatever you want. You can complicate it. But the bottom line is a 3 cannot testify to a 1. That's all he cares about. A 3 to a 1 doesn't go. You want to call him, you want to stick in a lot of different titles and stuff and make it more complicated, great. There are people at that's how they call their sister-in-laws. They don't say sister-in-law, they say, my wife, her mother's daughter. That's how different countries that speak like that. Here we had a guy, I don't know if we have it here. I had a guy last night, he's a Moroccan. He tried to explain it to us. I don't know if this is, he didn't even do a good job, but here. חצי, אז מותר לך להגיד. עוד פעם, אז תגיד בקולי קולות איך זה עובד? תגיד עוד פעם.
אח שלי, דוד שלו, אז אבא שלו, דוד שלי, אמא שלו אמרה שאבא שלו אמר לשם.
Okay. Anyway. So, that being said, the sugi is understood and we can go weiter. So we're holding over here. Oh, Vamai. Havale shlishi berishon, as we all see, a 3. It's a 3 to a 1. Vanan sheni b'sheni tnan. And our Mishnah only discusses a 2 to a 2, as we saw in the first case, a cousin to a cousin. Sheni berishon tnan. a cousin, a nephew to an uncle. Shlishi Berishin Loitnan. It doesn't mention anything like that in the Mishnah. Says the Gemara, so try number one is, My chasani diktani b'masnisin chasam benoi. Not true. The Mishnah does talk about a 3 to a 1. Where? Check this out. We thought that a son-in-law is the guy in the dotted line. Who's a 2? In other words, there's a guy in the first generation, he has a daughter, and she married somebody. That's a son-in-law. No. You're mistaken. That's not the son-in-law. The son-in-law is in generation 3. So we have a son-in-law in generation 3 who's testifying in the Mishnah. It says he's not allowed to testify to a 2. Here again, this is who? You see, this is the guy we're talking about. He cannot testify about him. It's a 3 to a 2. Says the Gemara, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. So you're telling me a 3 to 2 is no good, but there's a much easier 3 to 3. There's a much easier 3. What's the easier 3? Why are you talking about a son-in-law? Here, look, just talk about a grandson, a ben benoi. That's a 3. And just say, if that's true what you're saying, just say a 3 cannot testify like that. So says the Gemara, so obviously you're wrong. No, you're not wrong. And the reason why I said, instead of a grandson, I spoke about a son-in-law, which is very, very far. I want to tell you a chiddush. The Baal ki ishtoi. Stam, you should know that. Look over here. This guy in the dotted line with the yellow circle around him on the bottom, he has the same halacha like his wife, who's a granddaughter. That's it. I want you to know they're equal. They're not. It's not another. You don't view the son-in-law as a 4. He's a 3 like his wife. A wife is a granddaughter. She's a 3. And Shalom Yisrael, there's a wife came to her husband and said, "Listen, when I was pregnant, you told everybody. You said we are pregnant. When I gave birth, he said, we gave birth. So I want you to know that we drove in reverse and we hit a beam today." So about Kishtai, we're the same. One. Very, very simple, Rabbi Yisai. Don't get nervous here. This is the Mishnah. I'm not being chadash anything. These 8 cases are in the Mishnah. If you don't know what they are, go to the Mishnah. The bottom line is we have 8. 8 that each one of those, also their son and their son-in-law are all apostle. Each one of these guys, if their son testifies about somebody, apostle. Their son-in-law testifies. So the Brisa, Reb Chia, who wrote the Brisa, he's one of the authors of the Brisas, he says there's 24. Ask the Gemara, Hani Tlasim V'Tartinavi. Based on what you just told me, you have to add another row. Ben Benoi, the grandson. You told me grandson is in the Mishnah. And the only reason it didn't say grandson is because we wanted to tell you that a grandson-in-law is like his wife. But there's another generation. There's another 8. Why didn't you mention 32? Why does it say 24? Okay, we have to go back. Okay, charata time. We're going back. Check this out. It's beautiful. We're talking about the son-in-law. Okay, but the son-in-law, actually, we have to treat him now like a 3. We are talking about a real son-in-law. Generation 1's son-in-law, not generation 2's son-in-law. You told me generation 2 son-in-law. You should just know the reason why I used him the reason why I mentioned son-in-law is because a son-in-law is not the same halacha like his wife, who's a daughter, and is generation 2. I'm going to treat son-in-law. I'm going to knock him down. I'm going to bring him down a generation. He's too far away. Why are you calling him a 3? Even the Malmakasi. He's not blood. He came from somewhere else. I'm going to treat him like another generation. So it comes out. So now the Mishnah is talking about a third. According to Rav, we have a 3 to a 2. Rav is only talking about a 3 to a 1, which is more related than a 3 to a 2. A 3 to a 1 can't testify, but a 3 to a 2 could testify. Ella, So we have somebody that does say that a 3 to 2 is no good. Who is that? Rebbe Lazar. El Rav Domak Rebbe Lazar. This is not Rebbe Lazar Oimer. It's the same exact case. I'm just switching. I'm just putting in Rebbe Lazar here. El Rav Domak Rebbe Lazar. The same Rebbe Lazar Oimer. Kishem sha'achi abba leyoidli hu b'noi v'chasana. Yikach ben achi abba. This case, mamish leyoidli hu b'noi v'chasana. He goes both directions. A 3 to a 2 cannot testify. The problem is that's very good that you found Rebbe Lazar. But you didn't gain anything by telling me this is Rebbe Lazar. Rebbe Lazar holds that, but Rav doesn't hold. Rav holds that a 3 to a 2 is kosher, not possible. Says Gemara, you're right. He does hold that. He just holds something similar to Rebbe Lazar, not exactly like Rebbe Lazar. Rav Savar Bechada. He holds that a 3 to a 1 is possible, but a 3 to a 2 is kosher. This is a case of 3 to 2. In other words, you see the concept from Rebbe Lazar that you go from a 3 to a 1. He takes that part. My time of the Rav, what's enough community between Rav and Rebbe Lazar? Why do one learns a 3 to 1 is possible and the one learns even a 3 to 2 is possible? Right? 3 to 2 is much further away than 3 to 1. My time of the Rav, the extra vav over there, l'rabbois dor acher. That lo yumsu avis al banim is telling me a 2 to a 1. Layuvsu avos al banim, a 2 to 1, right? That's pashat. Avos is 1, banim is 2, 2 to 1 is no good. Ubanim, l'rabis dar acher, he teaches me a 3 to a 1. That's Rav. Only a 3 to 1 is possible. Rebbe Lazar, al banim, Amar Achmana, psuli davis shadi abanim. So that means even a 2 to a 3 is also. Amar Rav Nachman, achi chamoisi. Oh, here this is mamish where we're using interesting language to get to a simple concept. Achicha Moisi, my shviger's brother, lo yoyedli, cannot testify to me. Ben Achicha Moisi, and my mother-in-law's brother's son, lo yoyedli. Ben Achois Chamoisi, and my mother-in-law's sister, lo yoyedli. The son of my shviger's sister, lo yoyedli. V'tanatuna, and in fact, this is in our Mishnah, because it says in the Mishnah, in other words, my sister's husband, son-in-law, is the same as my mother-in-law's brother, son-in-law. Yeah? Yeah, okay, fine. A very similar thing. What about my father-in-law's brother? Ben what about my father-in-law's brother's son? Ben Achayis Chamiv Ma'u. That's also in the Mishnah. It says, Achiv, Vachi Aviv, Vachi Imoy, Heim, Uvneim, Chasneyet. They're son-in-laws. So Memela, a father-in-law's brother, is the same thing as a brother's son-in-law. It's just in reverse. Says the Gemara, Rav Ikla Lemizban, a more dika story, Rabbi Isai, Agadata. You can wake up now. Mamish Agadata. Rav Ikla Lemizban Gvile. Rav went to buy parchment. Bo'minei, so that's the end of the story. He went to buy parchment. Zehu, that's all you're getting today. Bo'minei, and then they asked him a shayla. Mahu shiyoid daf chav chesam beis. Mahu shiyoid adam beishes chargoi. Can a person testify about a stepson's wife? I shall explain. The turning of the daf is sponsored by Berkovici family in honor of the MDY Daf champions, Leo Shamshi Shlavrak, Uncle Freddie, and Mr. Gross. Sometimes if you wonder where Shamshi is, he sits over there, but he was here last night, so he doesn't come when he's here at night. Well, sometimes he goes for both. The Refuah Shlema for our fearless leader and chief, Chaim Gavriel and Sivulana, by the members of the Muncie Fire Department, and Yaakov Sitran Family Films Strategic Video Production. So,
Why did the Gemara say that Rabbi was going to buy
we
parchment?
can't ask questions today. I'm telling you, I'm not holding cup. What's your question?
Why did they go to buy parchment? Who cares?
I have no idea. To wake you up.
The Gemara is showing you how hard it was for Rav. Wherever he went, they asked him questions. That's like what he goes through.
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't have a good answer.
You can't go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't see a connection. No, I had the shaila also. Mamish like that. It doesn't seem connected to the. Sometimes it's connected. Like when there's a. Okay. What's charga? Charga means a person marries a woman and she comes into the marriage with a son. like an added bonus, just what the person needs in his new marriage. He wants to deal with this new son also that she has. Now, if you notice in the Mishnah it says chargoy, stop, livadein. That's what it says. You stop at a chargoy. In other words, the chargoy's son over here, the son all the way in the bottom, could testify for Mr. Who. I don't know if I still have my marker. Who and this guy, they're not related. It's levadoi. Ask the Gemara, if it's levadoi, are you being serious? Are you being very, very exact with your words that it's just the stepson, but not his son? What about the stepson's wife? Is she considered too far related? Or maybe we'll say Bal Ki'ishtoi. That's what we said before. Very good. Everybody that's related to the stepson, not. But a wife is different than everybody else because a wife is one. Says Gemara, in Surah they said mamish, a husband's like a wife. The famous Maisa with what was his name? I forgot his name. Rabbi Levine, no? Rabbi Levine, he went to the doctor and he said, our foot hurts. The famous Maisa. What does it mean, our foot? Bal Ki'ishtoi. Bal Ki'ishtoi. I'll tell you, I have to forewarn you, like give it to slowly. So my wife right now is in Chicago, but it took her 30 hours to get there or something. She, with the flights being canceled, and the first flight was canceled, so then they put her on a flight to Krakow instead of to Warsaw. Then she missed her flight to Warsaw, but the suitcase, you know how it goes, and then this, and there's no food and no data. Kissed her, she finally got to this, and then they delayed the second. So now she's in Chicago. She's still making her way to Utah. So, but I felt it. I'm saying I did feel the time. I did. Bemes. I'm not like her. I really felt bad for her. She's a woman. To be out like that, without food, without this, another 30 hours. But I also said it for another reason. Because if she's there and she's staying there for a long time, I might have to go there to visit her. In Utah. I mean, if it was in Chicago, no. But because it's in Utah and it just snowed over 2 feet this week, yesh lahater. How do you know that a woman is like her husband? It says mafurish in the pasuk that you're not allowed to marry your father's brother's wife. Eishes ervas achi avicha segala. So that's one way to say it. Your father's brother's wife. At least secret, don't come close to her. But then the Torah says the daschahi. She's your aunt. But as the Gemara about Eishes doidahi, she's not your aunt. She's your uncle's wife. We call it an aunt, but halachically, she's your uncle's wife. She's not related to you. Not true. The Torah is telling us that she is your aunt because she married your uncle. She becomes an aunt. She becomes the same madrega. So yeah, we are going into easier Gemaras than before. I think we're over the hump now. We beat that sugya. Says the Gemara, so if you just read the Gemara, we explained it differently. We explained the maskana, but it says that if you marry a woman and she has a son with you, so that son and yourself are related, right? That is your half brother. If your mother marries another man, and your mother has a kid with that other, it's a half brother. So of course you're related. That's already in the Mishnah. Hainu achiv, asked the Gemara. Benoi hainu achiv. It already says in the Mishnah your brother. Here, let's see if we have a little thing here. We had a lot of charts here, and I think they're more confusing than. Here, look, it's Geshmak, Ula, Rav Nachman, the whole thing, Gevaldik. Chargoy, Ben Chargoy, Eshes Chargoy. We saw the Eshes Chargoy? Yeah, we did see Eshes Chargoy. Not this one. I'm looking for this. Here. We're talking about a half-brother cannot testify for your brothers, for you have another brother. The Gemara says, but that's ach. That's called ach. So the Gemara says, no. We're talking about that it's not a half-brother. This guy is not even related to you. he's a brother from. It came from the husband that married your mother. He comes into the marriage. Your mother got married to the guy in the left, all the way in the left top corner. He already had a son. That son cannot testify for your brother, about your brother. That's what the Gemara says. Rav Chizda, you share nothing. Rav Chizda, Achshar B'Achiach. Rav Chizda said it's kosher. Amalei lo yishmiya lecha de Rabbi Yirmiyah. You didn't hear about this? Amalei lo yishmiya li k'lo yimei lo yisfir li. I don't hold of him. Yihachi hainu achiv. But then, if that's the case, if you don't explain it this way, then we have another problem that in the Mishnah, it already says the case of a brother. So if this brother came, if you have brother from your mother, why does the Mishnah repeat it? So the Gemara says, no, I repeat it because Tana achiv min av v'ketani achiv min eim. I do need, according to Rav Chizda, I'm telling you two cases of brother, two types of brothers. One is a brother from a father, one is a brother from a mother. Omar Rav Chizda, mamash easy now. Avi chasim v'avi kala, two mechutanim. Yeah? A lot of us have that. Most of us in this room, right? The older guys. Our mechutan, your mechutan, your daughter's shver.
Daughter's parents.
Yeah.
Your daughter's shver and you cannot go ahead and testify. Or you could. You could. You're not related at all. Avi chasim avi kala midim zaze. You could. Another very interesting lashon. Like you're like you and him are like a cover. He's the barrel. You're the cover to the barrel. You have no connection. You're not one piece. You're two different pieces. You're not connected.
You're mashlim, it says. You're mashlim each other.
You're not mashlim. Yeah. What does that mean? How are you mashlim? Our kids got married.
Right.
How are we mashlim?
So the tzah of him and the tzah of you are mashlim each other.
Okay, but l'maisa, there's zero connection. Zero connection. Halachically. Right. That's how I think it is. It's
Two separate things that are put together.
two separate things that put together in the same room. They come together once a year when there's a mishpacha, a simcha in the mishpacha, but they have no connection. On Erev Shana they call each other. My poor mechutin, one of them, the other one doesn't even try. But this one, he texts me and I ignore him like I ignore my friends. It's not so nice. I feel bad. Eli, next time with shmooze. So says the Gemara. It's already 8:03. Unbelievable. In the time of the Gemara, this is even worse than what we were saying. This is not true. Arusa is with money. Not like today. Worse than today. She's a Isha Sish to you. And you're allowed to testify about her. What's going on there? You want to do wrong to her, to take money out of her, great. You want to get her $1 million, that you can't do. Why? Because eventually you're going to gain from it. It's your $1 million. Says the Gemara, it's not true. You cannot testify about your arusa. Why? You don't even sit shiva on her. You're not a oinen, and if you're koyin, you don't become tummy to her, even though that you should become tummy to a wife and the sheva kroivim, but she's not your wife. And she doesn't become oinen, and she does not force to. She doesn't have to be metamatim. Meisa yarsha. And if she dies, he doesn't get any of her Yerusha. Meisu goivik subasa. If he dies, she gets the ksuba, provided that he promised the ksuba during Esterson, which is not usual. Hasam b'she'eret, says Gemara, Hasam b'she'eret al Rachmana. That's halacha of, the Gemara's going to say you're Nakuda. B'she'eret al Rachmana. That's a question whether or not you're related. To become tummy, when you're going, you have to be completely a wife and a husband. Akadi lav she'eret is not a wife. But over here, when it comes to testimony, this is all about if you care about this person, you're chassan and kali, you're going to care about her. So how can you testify about her? Vaha ikarva daita. They once asked the chedusha rim, how come ligabba? So yeah, sorry. Vaha ikarva daita ligabba. They asked the chedusha rim, how come kroivim are posulated? So he said because kroivim like each other. They're going to be in the davar. She said, okay, and what about if you want to testify against your relative? So he said, it says, V'amdu shneha nashim. The two people are standing. You have to be a mensch first. And if you testify about your relative for the bad, you're not a mensch. That's what he said. Zog the Gemara, huh? levadoi.
To answer your question about engaged.
So l'chayra, you could testify. I think you could.
You could be died.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you could, but I know. It's funny. It's funny.
You can't do it.
We'll see in a second. You could testify for your best friend. Your best friend, you can testify. Hold on a second. So let's go. I'm just telling you what I think. I don't know. I might be wrong, but it's weiter. Look how many people are standing by the door over there. Let's just do one more sugi here until the 2 dots, until the Omer, like 6 lines. It says in the Mishnah that a stepson that comes into a marriage, you marry a woman, she has a son, his kid's not, let's just do the chart, I saw it a second ago, so we might as well use it. Here, Chargoi Levadoi. Chargoi, yes, he is puzzle. This guy, no. He's not puzzle, okay? Fine. So says the Gemara, so this is a riddle. Rabbi Yossi says a brother-in-law, which really means that the brother-in-law's son-in-law, and I'm saying this on purpose, not the son-in-law. The son-in-law's brother, the gis is already in the Mishnah. The son-in-law of the brother-in-law is out. He's not related. That your son-in-law is by himself in a category by himself, not his son-in-law. His son-in-law of your brother-in-law is not related. And Rabbi Yehuda says what it says in our Mishnah Chargoi. Mike Amar, what's going on here? Perhaps to say there's no argument at all. That there's no machlokes between Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yehuda. They both say the same thing. There's 2 things that stand by themselves. One is a stepson and one is a brother-in-law. They don't argue. Each one adds one thing to the category. So it says in the Mishnah Mefurish that your brother-in-law's son-in-law, your brother's son-in-law, is pasul. And you just told me Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi both agree that your brother-in-law's son-in-law is not pasul. Mani, lo Rabbi Yehuda, lo Rabbi Yossi. The Mishnah doesn't line up with anybody, and that's very strange. So perhaps what it means is oh, so I have somebody named a brother-in-law. I'm sorry. A chargoi is all by himself, but a brother-in-law is his son. So everybody, the son-in-law is pasul. And comes Rabbi Yossi and says the son-in-law is all by himself. In other words, that the son-in-law's your brother-in-law, Gisa, your brother-in-law's son-in-law is not related. That's what Rabbi Yossi says. Ask the Gemara, bomb question. We go to this chart again. Look what's missing. We have 8. It adds up to 24. Kiman. Like Rabbi Yosef, like Rabbi Yehuda. According to either one of them, you can add one more category. Let's say this category, called this a brother-in-law, and the brother-in-law's son, and the brother-in-law's son-in-law. So in fact, on top you have 9, and each one has a son and a son-in-law. That's 27, not 24. So the price is off. If you could add one, you either add the chargoi or gis. But either way, you have 9 on the top level, not 8. Come on, look at Rabbi Chargoi, the stepson is by himself. But a brother-in-law does have relatives. His son-in-law is pasul. According to Rabbi Yossi, there's 2. So our Mishnah, this is not a problem. The problem was the Brisa. The Brisa says there's 8. The Mishnah might have 9. You're right. The Mishnah does have 9. According to the Mishnah, there would be 27. We're talking about the Brisa. How come the Brisa says 24, not 27? Because the Brisa is Rabbi Yossi. The Brisa actually knocks off Gis. Gis doesn't have a son and a son-in-law. And maybe it's only 8 in the Brisa. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.